I spent the week listening to all of Taylor Swift's album, and I've decided to put them on a tier list. Yeah, this isn't going to annoy anyone at all. Ever. My opinions. Yeah. Don't quite know how to intro this video, but yes, I spent the week listening to Taylor Swift albums, and I've got them all here, and we're going to put them on a tier list. If that sounds like a good idea, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe for potentially more tier lists coming soon. Potentially? Maybe? If this one goes well, I might do more. You never know. Don't quite know what that's meant to mean. If you've got an opinion, let me know in the comments below. Also, for this video, I've decided to give it a 5-word review. I don't know why I'm putting that in quotes. I've picked my favourite and least favourite songs of each album, and then we're just going to sort of go through them all here. Nice, simple, easy, peasy, lemon squeezy. Alright, and also, I've decided to do Taylor's versions for each of the albums that have Taylor versions albums, because I don't want to give any more money to Big Machine Records, because, you know, that whole ordeal. First, we've got Taylor Swift's debut, a pleasant teenage talent show. C tier. Look, I enjoyed this. We had to start somewhere, you know. Debut is a good album. It's a passable album. It tells the story it needs to tell, and yeah, there you go. My favourite song on there is Cold As You, with my least favourite being Tim McGraw. Now, Tim McGraw, why is that the first song that Taylor Swift decided to put on an album for commercial use? I will never know, but hey, it's country. What do you expect? Alright, moving on to Fearless, Taylor's version. Country Girl in Big Smoke. B tier. Our favourite songs on the album of mine personally were White Horse and Today Was a Fairy Tale. Now, I was convinced that Today Is a Fairy Tale was on the original Fearless album, but it wasn't. But I'm so glad it got a re-recording that it could be on this album officially. But Valentine's Day, terrible movie, fantastic song. My least favourite is Breathe, featuring Colby Chowray. You know, the lady who is so bubbly inside. Anyone remember that song? No? Okay, just me? Perfect. But yeah, Fearless was definitely a start of the transition to... Hang on, I'm gonna move my camera, hang on. But yeah, Fearless, I forgot about a lot of Fearless and a lot of Speak Now. But Fearless was pretty good. Alright, next up, Speak Now. It's like eating at a buffet. C tier. I'm going to put it above debut though, so there you go. Speak Now definitely made me feel full. Like, that's definitely a way of expressing it. Favorite song for me is Haunted and the Story of Us. And my least favourite is Mean on that album. I know that might be a controversy take. Well, all of these are probably controversial to Swifties, so don't come at me in the comments, by the way. On the flip side of that, we have Red, where my little review is 30 tracks of pop perfection. S tier. I loved Red. Upon the original release, Red was the first Taylor Swift album I ever listened to, so you know, I really have an affection for Red. Taylor's version is 30 tracks long, and I couldn't get enough. Speak Now made me want more, whereas Red made me not want less. Was definitely the sufficiency of that. It is pop all the way across, and it is just spectacular. There's no if, buts, or maybes around it. It is just phenomenal. Oh, favourite song. I forgot to do this bit. I have a few favourite songs because there's 30 of them, so I couldn't pick just one. We had I Almost Do, Everything Has Changed featuring Ed Sheeran, and The Moment I Knew, and All Too Well, the 10-minute version, because of course, well, how could you not have a tier list and not mention the 10-minute version of All Too Well that went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 at the time. So, you know, you've got to mention All Too Well, the 10-minute version. My least favorite on the album is Stay, Stay, Stay. It's beat got to me somewhat. You know, I couldn't get behind it, if that makes sense. Next up, 1989. Girl Next Door exceeds expectations. A tier. Now, upon returning to 1989's Taylor's version, it's not as good as I remember. I'm sorry, that's going to be controversial. I thought this was the best Taylor Swift album, but then upon watching the Eras tour as well on Disney Plus, yeah, it got knocked down from S tier to A tier for me. It's good. It's a great album, but it's definitely not iconic in the way of saying statements like Red does. So, it has the bangers for it, but it just doesn't, I don't know, there's something about the B-side also that doesn't quite hit the same as Red's B-sides does. It's boiling in this room today. And I think with 1989, she sort of kind of presents herself as the girl next door, and we all know that she's not. So, nice try, Taylor Swift. Nice try. Favorite song from the album is Wildest Dreams is my favorite song of that album. And of course, the Is It Over Now from The Vault is another personal favorite of mine. My least favorite is Welcome to New York. There's something about that as an opener that just feels a bit unfinished. I know, it just doesn't quite sit that well. Lover! No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to talk about this next album. This next album and I have a very, very complicated relationship. Reputation. My little review is disproportionate factory reset executed poorly. D tier. Taylor Swift trying trap. Just something doesn't work, and she's yelling at me for half the album, and it just feels wrong in a sense. Worse, my favorite Taylor Swift song of all time is on this album, which is very unfortunate that it's on Reputation, and that's Delicate. I love Delicate. Delicate I listen to every day, and it brings me joy. My least favorite, and this is my main problem, this is not the only case of this, but Endgame featuring Future and Ed Sheeran. It's Taylor Swift yelling at me, which I don't want. But also, when this album came out, this listen was definitely the most pleasant of the listens. That's definitely for sure. But I was going through it in 2017. I was, on the rebound, I'll say, and it definitely, I was going through my Reputation era, and I was trying to use music as an escape, and then definitely just being dragged down by this being everywhere in 2017 definitely did not help matters much. Next up, Lover, which I'm so glad Lover did this. Easy listening, Summers Are Back. A tier. It's a low A tier. Like, it's in between A and B tier for me, so that's why it's after 1989. Definitely low A tier. Now, I'm so glad that this came after Reputation. This is sort of the clarity album, the one that definitely needed to happen to sort of... Reputation came in and destroyed everything, whereas Lover sort of rebuilt everything on top of what was left of Reputation, sort of trying to rebuild the foundations again. And I was forever grateful of Lover, A, for doing that at the time, and B, just re-listening to Lover now. It's such an easy listen. So there you go. My favorite is The Archer, and my least favorite is Me, featuring Brendan Urie. I don't like that song. I was going to put, it was close between that and You Need to Calm Down, although You Need to Calm Down has an important message in it, but it felt that it was political, but also it was not necessary. It was her choice, and it was a decent song. It was much better than Me. And the fact that they removed Hey Kids, Spelling is Fun definitely was a misstep, because I am not a fan of people going in and editing albums because of backlash. And that's why it's low for me. It's just nitpicky stuff. at this point. So, there you go. Alright, we now enter pandemic era Taylor Swift with Folklore. Taylor as a dungeon master. B tier. I forgot that these two albums existed. This is when I didn't go off Taylor, but I wasn't really following Taylor Swift as much as I was, say, back in 1989 and Red days as such. I've heard on the grapevine, and I don't know if it's this album or Evermore or both, someone will correct me in the comments, that I think it was Folklore, because I think she said this on the Era Tours concert, that it was her creating a character. So, hence the review. And she creates this pretty good sort of character of the album. My favourite songs on the album are My Tears Ricochet and Betty. I love Betty. Betty is such a great storytelling of a song. This is more of her telling a story rather than chronicling her life. Jesus, Dale, get it together. My least favourite song on the album is This Is Me. This Is Me Trying. I just didn't evoke emotion out of me, so unfortunately had to be last. But on the flip side of that, coming out next is Evermore, which is my review for this one is A Holiday That We Needed. A tier. I love this. I forgot this album existed, and I'm so glad that I went back and re-listened to it. It was just a pleasant listen all the way throughout. No breaks. Definitely would listen to the album from start to finish again. My favorite was Tolerate It, and my least favorite was Long Story Short. It just, again, like Folklore, just didn't bring any sort of emotion out of me. Which is fine. I have to put something in my least favorite, so that's the rules of the video. So I might as well put something in there. But this next one, Midnight's, best to listen to at any time. S tier. Now I'm not putting it above Red. I'm sorry. That's gonna stay as the best Taylor Swift album today. But my God, Midnights. I could listen to Red back to back, and I can listen to Midnight back to back, and I regularly do listen to those two albums back to back. Red was the one that introduced me to Taylor, and Midnights is the one that keeps me invested in Taylor. So those two have to sit above everyone. My favorite song on Midnights is Midnight Rain. My least favorite was Sweet Nothing. Like the last two, they sort of just don't evoke any sort of response from me, so I kind of... If I have to put something here, I have to put something here for the sake of putting something here. Don't come at me. It just didn't. The last three least favorite songs just didn't evoke any emotion. So, all right. Yes. So going down the list, Red is my favorite. Midnights is my second favorite. Then at 1989, Evermore, Lover, Fearless, and Folklore. Yeah, they're really close. I don't think I want to swap them. I think they're good where they are. Speak Now, Debut, and Reputation. That is my Taylor Swift album tier list. Now I could have a little bit of a break from Taylor Swift because it's been non-stop listening to these 10 albums while I work. So, a little bit tired. So, there you go. If you have any thoughts, please let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, please consider giving it a like and consider subscribing for potentially more tier lists. This was fun. If you want me to do more of these, I will do more of them. If you want me to do less of them, I just won't.